Hey guys, what's up? Today we are going to be reviewing artifacts, kind of go over them, if they're good, where I use them, um, and then we'll do some summons afterwards. The first portion of my summoning from the artifacts is all screwed up. I don't know what happened to the audio. I'll throw over some like music in the background so it's just not dead silent. But like the rest of the summonings that I have after this will all have the audio. All right, starting off, Scarlet Hunt. Um, awesome artifact if you have Vladov or um, Salazar or Ardea. I use this currently on 2 champs in my guild boss. Damage increase is insane with this. Overall, I'd probably give it an A tier. Not quite S. I think the only S for fighters is the Wailing. Then we go over to Regal. I haven't used this much. Early game, I could see this being okay, especially just with the stat bonus itself. But other than that, I think it falls off a lot during the end game. I kept one copy of this, and that's about it. I'm never gonna max this unless I'm just starting to max like random stuff for other for the basically the forging challenge. But overall, I'd probably give this like a C tier, maybe into B tier, but it would probably be around C. Spirit Siphon is going to be our first S tier. If you don't know about this, it is the best damage, like single target damage dealing artifact from Marksman. Probably the best overall uh, artifact for Guild Boss. um, it's pretty much a must have if you're running like Silas or Hex, Cetrum. You could replace Cetrum with his own artifact, really, but honestly, Spirit Siphon is just the best way to go. Um, yeah, S tier. Brightfoot Ring or Jungle Relic. Um, G. I hate this artifact. I don't think it's that good. It's okay early game, like if you need the HP and stuff. I would never invest like far into this one, just because as a mythic, I don't think it's that strong. Um, this is okay. Like I said, healing effect. It's never guaranteed, especially if you're doing like anything AOE specific or like Codex. Like you were always taking damage in Codex, so I didn't think this was very good in there either. But yeah, overall, I'd give this like a D or a C tier. It's just not that good. Another underwhelming one is Heaven's Rage, or it used to be Ajax Rage. Um, it's conditional crit, so a crit hit increases crit damage by 25%. So, um, yeah, you're just gonna have to be doing overtime. I don't know the exact cooldown on this either. So if this keeps up like the full time, then it's okay, I guess. Um, Probably somewhere around C or B tier for mage. Not super strong. Decent if you're early game, I guess. Um, Onto like one of the main defenders, Bastion Ring, Olog's Wall. Absolute S tier for defender. Increases block by 1, increases physical damage reduction, and magic damage reduction by 4% for every blocked unit, stacking up to 4 times. So that can go up to, I think it's like 20 or 30%, somewhere around there at max, which is huge. Pretty much use this on all my defenders. North Swill I use occasionally on Olog, and that's about it. Other than that, it's pretty much always on my defenders. Taya's Bomb, probably like the best overall healing for mage or for healers. Probably give it an A tier. Definitely good early on. Definitely good. Probably my most used in Codex. Honestly, I had this on just about everyone in Codex. So yeah, definitely solid overall. A to B tier, probably somewhere in there. Tidal Ring, very niche use. Increased damage by 10%. Dealing damage has 25% chance of slowing down the target by 50% for 2 seconds. So it's really just used for CC. Um, could be good in faction with like I know a lot of people use this in faction for cultists, so it's decent in there. It's probably decent in northerners as well. Uh, Other than that, you might use some like have one person with it on in GR1, but other than that, I don't see too much use. I could see some Void Rift use as well if you're just trying to slow down some of those big guys. But yeah, overall probably B tier. It's not bad by any means, but you're really just using it for the CC effect. Wailing Skull S tier, the best fighter artifact by far. Um, Dealing damage has a 40% chance of summoning one Shadow Guard with 80% of the hero's attributes to attack the enemies for 10 seconds. So you're basically just getting like a little Komodo guy that comes out. Say you have it on like one of your best fighters that's guild to the max. Getting that 10 seconds of somebody else dealing that damage is insane. Amazing artifact. Definitely S tier. Onto tier, best artifact in the game by far. Attack is increased by 20% when deployed. When the HP is lower than 80%, the attack increase effect is reduced to 10. When you're at full HP, this thing is just a monster. The attack increase is so much better than any of the damage increase ones or crit damage, really. Just the attack scale so much more. So yeah, definitely the best artifact in the game. S tier. Probably want around 3 copies of this in general, and then you could start maxing. I unfortunately was not that patient and put them all into one so far, so waiting on getting some more of these bad boys. Unfortunate Skull, it's okay. Probably B to C tier. I think it falls off late game a lot in GR21, like or GR121. Anything where you're getting hit, really. Um, yeah, like those little AoE mages become really scary, or the AoE fighters become really scary in GR21 if you're running this. If you don't have sufficient healing, but damage increase is okay, I guess. Early and mid is probably a lot better. Yeah, so B or C tier. Sharpshooter is probably B. Um, when there is no enemies within one tile, AoE damage is increased by 20%. This is pretty much on all my AoE marksmen. So Maul, Razik, you're going to be using this on Nyx most likely if you don't have her exclusive. Kai, this would be a good one for him as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for this one. Definitely a great artifact. Very useful in GR3. Yeah. Eye of Sin. This one saw a big increase in value with Codex coming out recently, and then also the release of Uridin. I think this is going to be the best artifact for Uridin. But as far as Codex, I use this on A-Bomb, and he was a monster in Codex with this thing on. I think if you don't have the Lunacy Visor, this is probably the next best step, too, for any of your Cerberuses or anything like that. Increase AoE damage by 10%. Killing enemies grants an extra 5% AoE damage bonus that lasts 3 seconds. So early on, you get just this thing is constantly going off. I know one of my guildmates was using this on Aatrox, and he was getting some absurd damage with this thing. So yeah, probably A tier. Definitely, I would say it used to be a B, but I think it's gonna move into A. I think we're gonna see this being used a lot more. Frigid Flame, very niche. Increases damage by 6% for 4 seconds when no damage is taken. So the people you're running this on are generally fighters that are hiding behind something. I think this is like one of the more common ones for like Araka and stuff like that. Haven't had much use. I would still probably give it like a B or an A. Probably a B just because I haven't used it too much. But yeah, solid artifact. Definitely worth keeping. Bloodlust. Probably maybe around a B or an A. This is an awesome artifact for like Torador or any of your DPS dealing tanks. So like Torador, Captain Reeves. Um, Probably could be used on Gon as well, but I think Gon's better than another one. But yeah, probably somewhere around a B and an A. This is the one that I think is better for Gon, Goddess Grace. Increased defense by 10%, gains an extra 3% defense bonus for 10 seconds on the battlefield, stacks up to 3 times. So you could just boost Gon's defense through the roof with this thing. Another one, probably around a B or an A. None of them are like crazy broken, but they're definitely solid. Solid choices for those DPS tanks. Graveyard Opus, the Zealous exclusive. For Zealous, this artifact is great. I'm not really going to grade this one. I think it's pretty much a must use on Zealous if you're using them in GR21 or GR20. GR120, that is, or 121. The anti-heal is nice if you don't have any other anti-heal options. Like Zealous was my only anti-heal with this artifact, so pretty solid option. Euphoric Orb. Probably an S tier for healers. If not, it's very, very high A. Increase the attack of all heroes and range by 30 for 60 seconds. By 30 every 60 seconds, lasting for 10 seconds. So really, you're just dropping this time pool down once you get it max. So you could do the increase 30 for a long, pretty much over half the battle, really. Solid artifact. S tier for sure. Or, yeah, not for sure. A or S, somewhere in there. Tome of Horror, another niche one. I use this on my Mari and Guild Boss just for the attack speed increase, but other than that, I don't really see too much use on this one. I think the legendary Nightmare Sansara is just better for the rage regen effect. Probably around a B or a C. Nothing crazy there, really. Lunacy is another one that got a huge increase in value with the release of Codex. Pretty much must uses on Cerberus and Aatrox if you have it. All the top teams were running this at max on both those champs, so and they were pretty much keeping alive during the majority of their runs for Codex. I don't think if they had this artifact, they would be doing near the scores they were doing. So I'd probably give this around a B or maybe it moving into an A tier now, honestly. It's such a good artifact. Increase block by 1, which is awesome for fighters. Additionally, the wearer restores HP equal to 0.7% of max HP each time they deal damage to one target, stacking up to 3 targets. Realm tier. Another one that really saw quite a bit of increase with Codex as well, just because Valkyria and Ardea are so good in there. Deal increased damage to enemies beyond 1 tile from the hero. For every 1 tile beyond the first, damage is increased by 3%. So like on your champs like Valkyria, Ardea, or any of those long-range champs, this is going to be like a must-use. I would definitely give that an A tier. Tuning Crystal, another niche one. After every 10 basic attacks landed, deals AoE physical damage 1 times equal to 200% of the damage multiplier to at most 5 targets and restores HP for 10% of the damage dealt. I think I saw this used on Captain Reeves as well during Codex. I don't really know where you'd be using this other than the Codex, but probably definitely worth to keep a few copies. Probably a B tier. Lycian, probably the second best healing artifact, or the third. I would go Euphoric, Tyas, and then this. Increase healing effect stat by 3% for every 1 ally unit present in the range, stacking up to 4 times. The reason I like this better is just because it's guaranteed, where Bright Foot Ring isn't. I don't think the healing effect is too important on most characters, but there are some that it does help quite a bit. But other than that, I'm not really using this one. I'm using Taya's Bomb over this. Bloodbond Signet reduces max HP by 30% and increases crit damage by 20%. I think this maxes out at crit damage by 40%, and this goes to 20. So this is pretty awesome artifact. I see this sometimes used in Guild Boss as a replacement for Spirit Siphon. But other than that, I think it could be effective in other places as well. It's just you got to make sure you're either on a marksman that's not going to eat up a bunch of damage or that is ever really close to dying. So yeah, probably another B tier. And then Reaper's Emblem. Increases damage by 5% after killing the target, increases an additional damage of 5%, stacking up to 2 times. This effect lasts for 10 seconds. I feel like this is like an arena heavy artifact. I usually see it on like Hatsits and stuff in arena. I don't see too much in like gear raids and stuff like that. But yeah, but probably another B tier. Maybe A tier for arena. But overall, I'd give it a B. Definitely must keep. I'm working on. I'm gonna eventually max one and do some heavy testing with it in arena. And then on to legendaries. I think there's about 5 of these that I really do keep. I'll go over a few that have some niche uses that I used for a while. The first being Taunting Gaze. If you do not have Spirit Siphon, I think Taunting Gaze is an awesome option for your marksman. I had way better results with this than any other artifact or any other base level artifact in here. It was out dealing damage than those. So if you can get one of these up, like I think I had one up to 19 that I used over like a base level Spirit Siphon for a long time, just because it was out dealing damage on that. So yeah, definitely keep for a while, and then eventually Spirit Siphon will just outgrade it. Lucky Legacy. I only really use this on Decimus, and that's about it. Probably keep like 1 copy of this, 1 or 2, and that should be good there. Idril's Gaze, the first big notable one. Definitely top 2 or top 3 legendary artifacts. Pretty much a must use on Idril for Gear Raid 121 or 321. Great on 320 and 319 as well. Pretty much all of them it's good on. I think I have 2 of these maxed, so you could probably get away with doing a third, but I don't think you need any more than 2 maxed completely. So yeah, definitely one of the first ones in the legendary that is actually worth maxing. And then we go on to, this is a personal one of mine, Shadow Gaze. It's a niche use, but I use it on Hatsit quite a bit. I switch between Idrils and Shadow Gaze for Hatsit. But for my guild boss specifically, I use Shadow Gaze on it. Increase attack by 10% for every 5 attacks, lasting for 5 seconds. And then as far as I think this works so well just because Hatsit generally is attacking so much, so the damage increase is nice for her. This thing is pretty much always proccing. And then we go through Sacred, not worth. Soul Binding, not worth. The next one would be Nightmare Samsara. Probably, in my opinion, the best overall legendary artifact. Just a massive artifact for Pyros for Guild Boss. It's great use for other mages as well if you're not looking for attack and you're just looking for the ults. The rage regen is insane for this thing. So definitely must keep. Probably another one of those ones where it wouldn't hurt to have like 2 max copies. On to the next. North's Will. Don't really like any of the North's artifacts, but the North's Will is an amazing artifact for Olog. Definitely a must keep. I don't even have it maxed, but just the base copy does so much. If you have the meteorite to max it, definitely worth it. Next notable one, Watchguard's Ambition, probably one of the best ones for the fighters. Definitely great early on as well. It's an RNG based artifact for sure, but getting one of these maxed this week, and I'll be testing it. But I saw this used a ton in Codex. Um, Great option there for sure. I didn't mention North's Will. I use this all the time in AMR, or I used to use it when I used the O-Log, and then another awesome option for O-Log and Void Rift as well, if there's not a ton of things he needs to be blocking. And I think the last notable one will be Horn. Used to be Spirit Horn. You will see this used all the time by like all the big time Nightmare 4 players. Just a amazing artifact. I used to use this as well in GR2 for my Dolores, just to get her ult up right away. So it made clearing GR2 a lot easier, being able to pop that Dolores ult in time. So yeah, definitely must keep. The rest of these are just kind of like watered down versions of mythics, really. Like this watered down Scarlet Hunt. The Crest of Thunder is a watered down version of Eye of Sin, and these are both watered down versions of the other healing artifacts. I use Pin of Precision for a bit. I think it's used like this could be used early game on like your wing side people for GR3, like your Raziks, your Mauls, pretty much those AoE guys that aren't going to take a bunch of damage and aren't getting attacked. That's where you use this, but eventually it just gets outplayed by Sharpshooter's Crest. And then finally on to my favorite artifact in the game, Keen Wisdom. All the epics other than Keen Wisdom aren't worth keeping. Just sell them instantly. They're pretty much just going to be fodder. But Keen Wisdom, I think I have 5 max copies on my account, and I do not regret a single one of them. Early game, it's going to be your best option for all your DPS. Generally, pretty much outweighs any single like copy of Mythics. Like, it's very close with the amount of damage this one of these max deals with like a single copy of these. But yeah, definitely, it's cheap to max. They're easy to get. Definitely, don't be afraid to max about like 3 to 5 of these, if not more. But yeah, that's gonna do it for my review on the artifacts. We'll go into my polls. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. The first portion, like I said, is screwed up in the summons, but everything else after that should be good. Throw some music over it as well. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Later.